Hi everyone, this is Divine. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to continue my series of video as an attempt to aid anyone out there going through something negative, heavy, illness, anything, or if you're just trying to better your internal processes, etc. I wanted to go back to in some of my previous videos I explained a little bit about my personal stories. Um, and these are just the surface last 20 years. So I guess I'll evolve this series as I go along with the videos. But I did mention before about my, and I'm gonna continue to talk about this because it's an ongoing issue affecting my minor children. So it's very serious to me. And it's affecting me very negatively and my children very negatively. My ex-husband is on a psychopathic, sociopathic, narcissist side. And his mom, I explained like her details, not a very good mom. He was raised by like his grandma, his mother's mother. And bringing back about psychopaths, narcissists, people who seem to be from a religious perspective, always guided by a demon or something, or by the devil or lower level energies, however you want to present it. And I want to go a little bit deeper on the subject matter because they affect us very negatively in our experience in this world. And some other previous videos, I've explained this a little bit in terms of shadow and light, and how you can choose to be a blessing in this world or be like the representation of the devil incarnated in this world. It's your choice. But I also want to touch base on the past lives attached to us because remembering we are eternal beings, we're infinite, we are just a little teeny piece of something eternal and infinite. Um, we come with other lives and many experiences attached to us, and many unhealed experiences attached to us. And when you're born, if there is on YouTube podcasts, interview with psychopaths and stuff, they'll explain to you, the psychopaths themselves, that they've been this way since they were born. Like, there was no little event or major event that made them who they are. They were just psychopaths, narcissists, manipulated from the beginning. And I'm not a professional. I'm sure a manipulator is not necessarily a psychopath. I'm just saying a psychopath though usually is a manipulator and also a narcissist. So just because someone's manipulative doesn't mean they're automatic a psychopath. Okay, so there's plenty of great videos with professionals speaking about this and giving you further explanation. I'm not here to explain that part. I'm here to touch on the spiritual part. To me matters the most. Like I previously said in my other videos, psychology is very disconnected from spirit. Hence why I believe it to be very incomplete. Most of the times, psychologists are used to brainwash the population into accepting the worldly accepted systems. Many people are not born for systems, but these systems created because they're very incomplete. We're eternal beings, and the systems are very limiting systems. But that doesn't mean gives you an excuse to be a psychopath or a narcissist. So going back to it's a choice. And you can have chosen it in this lifetime at some point. But majority of the time, from what I'm seeing, it seems that a lot of them, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well, that they were born this way. And a lot of people have this belief, oh, they're just babies are born perfect. And I love babies. I love children, and they are our future. They're the seeds of the world. They're the seeds of humanity. I do believe that children are in certain ways born perfect, but certain children already carry karmic debt when they're born. And you're born with that karmic debt knowingly when you're born into this world. So if you're not born and you have a karmic debt, let's just say, you come across one of those children. As a baby, you're going to act like a baby. But eventually, even when you are a toddler, you're going to start developing these characteristics. That's what I call a red flag. It's not for you to deny your child. It's for you to pay attention and nourish your child. So your child can learn that the love of a mother is very powerful. And from a mother's perspective, it's extremely important to have children be close to their moms. The love of a mom is extremely powerful to children. And when you take that away from children, it's a shock. And if they already have those kinds of tendencies, it's gonna accelerate and maybe become even worse. So it's not everybody that comes in this way, but certain people do. And if those babies are not born to a mother that is a loving woman, that is ready to have children and knows and have that kind of maturity and that kind of willingness to give love to the best of your ability, because that's all you can do. Love a child to the best of your ability. The child will derail and go further down to that path of psychotic, psychopath, psychosis, narcissist, manipulation, etc. Because the child never got to learn unconditional love from the mother. And I speak about love a lot because I do believe unconditional love to be the remedy. And usually it is the mother's role and the father's role. But a lot of time it's hard for fathers to play that, to be in that role. Um because societal expectations. But also the mother is who bears the child. There is an eternal connection between mother and child. It's been scientifically proven. Who talks about it? It's from the early 1900s. Oh, he's a Freemason. I'm looking it up. Oh my God, there are so many posts. They're Freemason. I'll touch base in another video. But it's been spoken since the early 1900s, probably before. But that's the last one I found. About it's scientifically proven there's an eternal connection between mother and children. Because you bear the child inside of you, there is the connection like no other between you and the child. And so it is societally known that is the mother's duty, holy duty even, to nourish the child. So whatever karmic debt or whatever they come with, we nourish it in love, unconditional love that only a mother can provide. And so when a child doesn't have that, doesn't grow up with that, and they already come with karmic debts, or even if they already have karmic debts, and then there's like abuse and neglect, and the mother gives the child away, or the father's not in the picture, or if the father is in the picture, it's an abusive father. All this adds to the cocktail of a psychopath, narcissist, manipulator that ends up causing all this chaos in our society that we then as an adult have to be stuck living with them, dealing with them, either at work or you end up marrying one or one of them become your friend or your business partner, God forbid. Let's all pray for protection that none of these narcissists, manipulative psychopaths will ever come near us, ever. Well, what I've been noticing is like the population itself has maybe had an increase of these numbers of people being psychotic, psychopathic, and narcissist to the point where they were trying to push it as being as the new normal. And I'm like, no, it's not normal. And we cannot accept that as being normal. But we have to push back so these people can deal with their abusive behaviors, cannot take it out on people or children. And my children right now are involved. And that's why I often speak about it. Sadly, still an ongoing situation. And also for bringing up for awareness because people, I don't think they know the America that we live in today is not the same as before. Sadly, we have these police trying to say if children don't have broken bones, they're fine. They can be bleeding, you can scratch them, you can push them, you can punch them, whatever. If a bone wasn't broken, it's not a problem. And that's very Islamic. And we have to push back against it. Not because we want to be extra sensitive society. Like I said, it cannot be superficial, but we do have to have laws where you cannot be bruising up children regularly. Or cutting them or making them bleed, etc. But it's very disheartening if America becomes a place where you need a broken bones from children, which can be deadly because they're children, meaning you want a body to do something to arrest somebody. That's crazy. People need to get maybe not arrested, but at least going to civil court and getting protection orders and getting removed. The children should have been removed from him. But instead, if you know my case, they got the corrupt judge, the corrupt guardian ad litem, who never interviewed me, say all kinds of things about me that I am not the greatest mother. Based on evidence, she found that the court should take my kids away from me. And my attorney then asked, did you ever interview me? She said no. And she said, my attorney, how can you come to all these conclusions about me, my character, if you never interviewed her? And the judge intervened and said, she doesn't need to believe her. So clearly, she made the guardian ad litem, made up all these things about my character and how I'm a bad mother. Never interviewed me. She's supposed to legally, she's supposed to interview me. Never did. And she never contacted me. And for an interview. Not even that. It's not like I was dodging her interview. She was never contacted. When we asked the guardian ad litem, which is supposed to be protecting my children, which clearly she's working to fuck my children over. Again, I spoke about this before. It's a very Epstein feel because it's the adults which are supposed to be protecting children trying to literally screw my children over. And it's very concerning because, well, what we know about these files. And so the guardian ad litem said, I don't reach out to your people directly. It's the attorney's job to make sure that she reaches out to me. And we were like, what? No, it isn't. And if she was so concerned about me being such a bad mother, she would make sure she would interview me to make sure she got it right. But it clearly shows that this guardian's concern is not my children. It's her pockets. Which is crazy, but sad. And it's what I'm living from a state that I haven't lived in for over 6 years. So it's even when you leave that pedophile state, they don't want you to leave. It's crazy. It's sadly the psychosis go into the judge, into the guardian ad litem, into the attorneys that are working this case, not mine, but his. You have a Jewish attorney on his side. You have this Cuban judge. You have this guardian ad litem who claims to be so close to the Catholic Church. And again, I'm pretty sure those are claims because that's what they do for a living. They just lie. The judge, and mind you, the guardian ad litem is an attorney. So she doesn't know anything about psychology, about children's psychology. She doesn't know anything about behavior issues or anything like that. So she's just making stuff up. And then there is the actual psychologist. She's what I call an Epstein psychologist. Instead of protecting children, they try to make the children understand and feel sad and sorry for the abuser. It's crazy. If you read the Epstein's files, it's very in the same pattern, follows the same patterns. And that's why I'm very concerned. And asking for help from the FBI, I physically already asked for help, but also putting it out there on the YouTube algorithm, etc. And going back to the past life, how it comes into this life, and without that foundation of family love, unconditional love that you get from the family foundation, which creates this lifetime, then you have like extra amount of work, internal healing to do on yourself. So, and again, I'm gonna touch because it's, we can be each other's prayers. We can be angels in this earth. Or we can be representatives of the devils and the devil's armies. Meaning, we can give our children that unconditional love foundation. The foundation where they can find support, love, and understanding while still giving structure. And I don't know why people think so radically. Like, if you have too much love, you don't have structure. That's not true. You can have love and still have structure. For whatever reason, I don't know why people seem to be divided in the two most radical spectrums. So we have this radicalization of people in their minds, and both sides is too radical, therefore becomes unstable. So coming back to the center a little bit, balance. You can have a loving foundation and still have structure. And structure is important. But love is the most important. But you shouldn't have one without the other. You should have both. And if you're born into a family who's completely unaware, ends up representing demons and devils on earth instead of angels because they have no awareness, then it's on you after you grow up and become an adult to do the work on yourself. Choose for yourself to be an angel, an angelic being on earth, or a person of good intentions, love and peace, etc. In this world, as you work internally, you can work on your inner peace, or you can just follow the train that from your family of choices and be a burden to society and be manipulative, be a liar, steal, cheat, be a psychopath, a narcissist, etc. It's your choice afterwards. But when you're born, your family has a choice to nourish you, to love you, and to heal you and help you. And if they chose not to, then it's up to you. So it's easier on all of us if we all chose to be a blessing in this world. If we all chose and made that internal decision to heal ourselves, do the internal work necessary to be better people and to be a blessing and help others when we can, how we can. Even I'm just doing these videos, putting it out there. My processes, remember the mind, the emotional body. Breathe sometimes to just bring your attention back to your body and be calmer so you can have more control of how you react to situations. Things like that, basic things. And I talk about my story because I want to remind society that it's not normal. Psychotic behavior, not normal. And we should not be accepting that. That's normal. You do not need a psychopath in your life so you can shine your light. I learned from what I'm told. I was born a light. When I was born, some babies, some carry karmic debt to pay here in this lifetime, and some pay their debts and they come to help others and how to clear your debt. Yeah. Each one has a role to play, yes. But the role of the babies who carry that is not to become a psychopath in our lives. It's to heal internally your turmoils from your previous life. And if you're most likely born into what we call a karmic family, heal the karmic family foundation that you had in this lifetime as well. So, there's a lot of healing to be done by these people carrying that. And that was your purpose. Your purpose was not to become a demon, a demonic force in the earth, and push against all the people of light because they were doing light work and they were shining, because you want all the light in this world turned off, because you can't help it, because it makes you look in the mirror to see how dark you really are. While you pretend to be light and you post on Facebook pretending you're a person of light and you talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. That's not a person of light. That's a person pretending. That's completely different. The people who know how to read energy, they know how to see it. And most people don't know how to read energy because most people are out of touch with how the world really works. The unseen world. I spoke about this in other videos. Where everything really happens. And then things settle in the physical world, the density of this world. And so for those out there who on the psychotic side or the narcissist side or manipulative side, you will know if you feel pleasure from manipulating someone. Like, oh, I manipulated that person, and and you feel that pleasure, like it's something great. It's like an achievement. I manipulated that person. Therefore, I'm a great mind controller. And if that's how they think, and if you say it to yourself and hear it, and maybe you won't, but I do. You can hear how psychotic just that mind aspect of it is, like that way of thinking is very psychotic, but that's how they think. They take pleasure into knowing they can manipulate someone. Or it looks like it. Maybe they didn't manipulate someone. But, because for example, I won't say anything. I'll see what you're doing, but I'll keep it to myself and I'll try to keep a distance. But the manipulators in their mind, they have such egos. It's about feeding there's like a hole inside them of nothingness that it will never be filled because there's a infinite hole. So their egos are never satisfied. So it becomes worse. It starts with little ego tricks like what I'm saying. So if you have this kind of tendency, you should maybe watch yourself, work on trying to surrender your ego and be less in the mind and the ego, and try to do more deep meditations to go into the spirit, into a lighter realm. Deep meditation or sleep meditation will take you deeper. And for egotistic people, it's very hard to consciously meditate. So I would recommend the sleep meditations. So you're taking your subconscious into deep meditation. And your subconscious, though, it's always active in the background. And it will trigger your ego eventually to surrender. You have to play with what you have. You have to know who you are so you can know what remedies to apply to yourself. So again, going back to awareness, it all starts with awareness. It is mandatory and detrimental to internal work. You need to have awareness. So if you have these signs of egotistical enjoyment, oh, I manipulated that person. I'm a great manipulator. I can manipulate people into wanting what I want, into liking me, even though I'm not their type, etc. Things like that. It all starts small. But it will grow because remember, when you have no awareness of your ego is only going to grow so big. There is no like fulfilling. The ego is never fulfilled because the fulfillment should never come from ego. The true fulfillment comes from spirit. And so there is that it's never enough. So the ego is going to look for other things for you to be satisfied. So you're going to start lying and wanting to get away with lies. I got away with that lie. I'm a great liar. And then you start the art of lying, getting away with it, which is not an art. It's a terrible behavior. But it starts small because they say, I'm not committing a crime until they start forging documents. Then you're committing crimes. And then they start identity theft, signing on behalf of people who didn't agree. And again, identity theft is when you're signing on behalf of someone who did not agree. It's different if somebody else agrees and it's all done in clarity. It's not the same when you know someone doesn't want to do what you want to do, but you forge signatures and send emails on behalf of somebody else when you know they didn't agree. But you don't care because what you're looking for is not getting caught. And that's when it starts to becoming illegal. And I'm just pointing out how it grows. And it becomes worse and worse and worse. And all these people in these mental phases, that's not the word, in this mental capacity or mental disorder, all they're looking to do is not get caught. It's like thrill for them. They get, it's like seeds them when they know they did something wrong, but they didn't get caught. And so it creates that honey more, like it's like a drug for them. Like this excitement of doing something wrong and not getting caught. And that's kind of psychotic, which goes to show you're out of alignment. And that is internal work that needs to be done. There's nothing the outside world can do for you in that scenario. There are certain areas where the outside world can help you. But in majority of the problems, they're internal like this one. Like if you're a victim of a crime, the external world, that's why we have law enforcement, we have laws, because we need some sort of functioning, coherent society for that when there are crimes occurring. If society doesn't want us to take the justice to our own hands, and that could happen too. I mean, I'm okay with that. But make a choice here. We cannot have these systems that don't function, but expect us to also not take justice into our own hands. It doesn't function. One has to collapse. It has to be one or the other, but not a lack of accountability. That society won't function that way. There's got to be accountability when there are crimes committed. Then obviously you have to be able to prove the crime, have proof of crime. But enough proof, all that. And going back to self-awareness. Again, majority of these people in these situations though, and I'm putting this out there in case, because I feel like sometimes they do seek help, but not loudly, not externally, not outwardly. But I do think at some point they must wonder what's wrong with them. I've seen that from personal experience, like I said, where I call it when the mask drops. When the mask drops and they can be sincere with themselves, I could see the pain because of the awareness of them knowing they were a piece of shit because they were doing something wrong. So they do have knowledge. So they put on the mask and they stay with the mask on because they don't want to go back to the awareness. They have to confront themselves and the fact that they are pieces of shit for what they've done. So they do know what they've done deep down inside, but they put on a mask and they think this mask will carry me through. And we must have a society where we don't respect, nor expect people wear masks. So creating an authentic society where we're more authentic, but yet respectful. Remember, being respectful is important. But sometimes, I say shit, fuck, and, that happens. But we shouldn't, pull people down because they said a curse word. That's crazy. But I mean, trying to be respectful with each other in conversations, etc., as much as we can. Improving our emotional stability. So we're not like adults who act like little children during temper tantrums. And some of us, well, am I talking to a child? And there's like a 40-something-year-old person in front of you doing a temper tantrum. And it's crazy not to deal with that. And my ex-husband threw more temper tantrums than my children. So I was dealing with 2 little kids throwing temper tantrums, and then my ex-husband throwing temper tantrums to wanting my attention. It's crazy. But there are different types of these cycles and narcissists out there. And I want to go back to creating a society where we can expect good people, where we should, where that's the new norm. Well, it's not new because that's old. I'm grabbing that from old. I'm from the time where I grew up, from the 90s and stuff. Like I never had problems until I had problems. Isn't that how this goes? But really, for majority of my time, I never encountered this. And it's crazy because a manipulator will feel the pleasure of manipulating everyone around you. And I'm looking at them like, you're so retarded. All the people around me, they got manipulated by my ex-husband. I mean, they're so retarded. I mean, how do you fall for a trickster like that? Like, they fell for the player. I had my my problems, and I knew why I stayed. I had a plan, and the whole purpose, it has always been to protect my children. But people just believed everything that he said instead of asking me. And these were people close to me. They had access to me. Like you had access to come look me in the eye and ask me questions directly. And they didn't. And one thing I found out about a very strong narcissist, psychopathic person, they bring out the hidden psycho narcissist person hiding inside of others. Just how I bring the goodness of people and the kindness of people. And I can bring down the manipulator's mask. That's how I said it. I call it when the mask comes down. There are moments if you watch close enough, they'll be real with you if you can bring that about them. These kinds of people, they connect in a very hateful manner. The connection was based on hate with all those people that became my ex-husband's flying monkeys. Luckily, they've been dismantled. There's only about a handful left, like no more than 5. But point being, it took me doing all the work to dismantle that garbage. But it goes to show that if left unchecked, society will allow these cycles and narcissists as swan successful leaders to great people of the community that should be looked up to, which is crazy. You should never, ever look up to a narcissist and to a psychopath. Those are not people we need to be copying. Quite the opposite. So I just wanted to touch back on the subject and reminder awareness is important. Always have like an ego check. What are you getting pleasure from? What excites you? You don't have to tell me. Don't tell anybody. It's internal exercise. You know, what pleases me? What do I get excitement from? Then you write it down. You can throw away the paper later. It's not for other people to find. It's for you to find that about yourself. And then you analyze without judging yourself. Do I get excitement from lying? Do I get excitement from getting away with a lie? Do I get excitement from stealing and getting away with it? Or do I get excitement from doing good to others? Putting a smile on somebody else's face? Being a blessing to somebody else in this world? Even though I'm not having such a great day. You then will show that you can analyze more clearly what kind of person you really are. If you're lying to yourself, or if you're being honest. And it's not up to us to tell you, even though we can. I mean, some of us can see clearly through people. And the moment we say something, they put their guard up. So the tell me because I can accept criticism doesn't work on those kinds of people. They, as a matter of fact, they get butt hurt. They're they get triggered by truths that we say. And so but they the cycles end up creating a society where we can't speak our truth anymore. And there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself truthfully. Like I said, we try to keep it as respectful as possible. But if somebody's under extreme duress, it's kind of hard. And that's human. And that's fine. As long as you're not physically hurting anybody. And majority of the times, we can have a conversation like this where it's normal. The tone is normal, it's respectful. You can say shit, fuck, whatever, if you feel like it. It shouldn't be triggering, is my point. But what makes it triggering is unhealed people. They have too many triggers. And instead of doing the internal work, of working in themselves, what their triggers, so they don't have more triggers, they blame us. And they want us to be silent. And they want us to shut up and not speak our truths and not tell our stories because they get triggered by it. And that's on them because they must face reality, which includes themselves because they're the criminals, they're the culprits, they're the bad guys. They can hide behind masks, but facts don't need feelings or masks. They just are. And if we have a law enforcement system that is fact-based, that'd be great. It's not my case right now. Because the judge is involved, guardian ad litem involved, and attorney is involved. And mind you, the guardian ad litem is a judge. So all people who are sworn to uphold the law are the same exact people breaking the laws and hurting my children. So I'd like to leave at that. And I would love if our society, our country, our nation, our world could get back into having law enforcement, judicial system that has common sense, that's evidence-based, but also has understanding and preference into helping children, feeding children, and saving children from an abusive environment. And I'll leave at that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have my Venmo Cash App. If you enjoy my series, if it helps you in any way, shape, or form, it's at Divine123 Venmo Cash App. Divine spells like my YouTube name is my YouTube name. It's my Venmo Cash App, basically. Thank you for stopping by. It's a new channel. So please like, subscribe, comment if you like. I hope this helped. Thank you so much.